वेलकम बैक गाइस। आज अपन खेलने जा रहे हैं एक चॉइसेस वाला गेम। लेकिन ये गेम के अंदर अपन चूज नहीं करेंगे बिकॉज ये गेम को अपन नहीं खेल रहे हैं, गेम अपन को खेल रहा है। और इस गेम का नाम है स्टैनली पैराबल अल्ट्रा डिलक्स एडिशन। हाँ गाइस, ये गेम काफी ज्यादा हाइप में चल रहा है मेरे हिसाब से और काफी ज्यादा अच्छा गेम है ये। तो क्यों ना मैंने सोचा इसको ट्राई करें एक बार। तो इसी के साथ स्टार्ट करते हैं। चूज अ स्क्रीन ऑफ सबटाइटल लैंग्वेज। इंग्लिश चूज करेंगे ना यार, और कौन सी लैंग्वेज करेंगे। Have you played the Stanley Parable before? No, नहीं खेला है मैंने। Please adjust the slider until the computer is barely visible. Okay. ले कंप्यूटर हो गया ना विजिबल, ये कंप्यूटर तो। Please enter the current time के 1:37। अरे 1:37 हो रही है। क्या कर रहा मैं? 1 ओके 38 हो गई अब। यस 1:38 हो गई अभी। Accessibility setting can be accessed from the main menu. ओके द स्टैनली पैराबल अल्ट्रा डिलक्स गेम। हाँ गाइस, स्टार्ट करते हैं इसी के साथ बिकॉज ये गेम को अपन नहीं खेल रहे, गेम अपने साथ खेलेगा ऐसा लगता है।
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
मैं कैसे पे होऊंगा भाई, मेरे को एक
And then one day, something very peculiar.
रूम पे बंद कर दे तो।
Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
ओह, मैं स्टैनली हूँ। ओके, बट मैं बाहर नहीं क्यों जाऊंगा? मैं कीबोर्ड पे टाइप करूंगा। चलते हैं, चलो।
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
ओके, ये नरेट कर रहा है और अपन गाइड, मतलब मैं स्टैनली हूँ और मैं इसका कहना मानूंगा। ऐसा हो नहीं सकता। कहाँ गए?
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
ये ऐसा ना होना चाहिए। यहाँ पे कोई भी कोवर्कर नहीं है, दिख रहा है मुझे भी। चलो बाहर चलते हैं अपन तो। मैं यहाँ से खिड़की से कुछ दिख भी नहीं रहा। इतना सफेद क्यों है बाहर? कोई भी नहीं है यहाँ पे। ये क्या है? कुछ भी नहीं है यहाँ पे। ओह, रूम 420। मैं यहाँ से बाहर नहीं जा सकता। मैं इधर से तो आया ही था। मेरे को ऑफिस से बाहर जाना है, यहाँ से निकलना है फटाफट। ये बेकार सी ऑफिस। आई हेट मंडेज। यस, आई ऑल्सो हेट मंडेज। ओनली आई लाइक संडेज। ओह।
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
लेफ्ट में गया वो? कोई ना, मैं राइट में जाऊंगा।
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Okay. Wow.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
मैं सही जगह आया हूँ मतलब कोल्ड ड्रिंक दो मुझे आओ दो ना यार नहीं कोल्ड ड्रिंक
Yes, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
No, I'm not looking at the paintings. मैं तस्वीरों की तरफ देख ही नहीं रहा. मेरे को कोई मतलब नहीं है. मेरे को कोल्ड ड्रिंक से मतलब है. मेरे को कोल्ड ड्रिंक चाहिए.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
ऐसा कुछ नहीं है भाई. ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है. मेरी पर्सनालिटी बहुत सही है. और मैं बहुत.
Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue. But when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
Okay. ये कुछ ज़्यादा हो रहा है.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
मैं नहीं जा रहा. मैं इधर जाऊँगा. मेरे को लेना भी नहीं है left.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
मैं स्टैनली नहीं हूँ. मेरे को जाना है यहाँ से. निकलो. चलो. ये कहाँ पे हूँ मैं? What the fuck? Do not jump from the cargo lift while it is in motion. Penalty for misuse of cargo lift. $1,000. Penalty for jumping off the cargo lift. $500. मैं jump करूँगा भाई. मैं jump करूँगा. ये.
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death.
Okay.
Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Yes, I am. Oh भाई. क्या हुआ ये? इस टाइम ठीक हो गया मैं. ओ ये एक मतलब ये एक जो एंडिंग होती है ना एक एंडिंग थी. मैंने एक.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay. तो एक एंडिंग मैंने कर दी भाई. एक एंडिंग मैंने कर दी. Wow.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
चलो लेफ्ट में उधर चलते. बात मान लेते भाई. तेरी में बात मान रहा. कोई ना. चलो.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
How to solve a dispute with co-workers. What the fuck? Chalo. Oh, broom closest.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
No, मैं जा रहा downstairs. मेरे को सुनने नहीं है तेरी. भागो. और down. नहीं इससे ज़्यादा down को जाएगा ये. Wow, कार ले.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that.
Yes.
And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley.
यही मैं कहना चाहता हूँ.
He thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real.
Yes.
And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming!
Yes, I am dreaming.
This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. and he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Oh!
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps
because
the
he dreamed.
strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking?
वही मैं सोच रहा हूँ.
Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak
इतना
these words was
कौन
quite
सोचता है पहली बात, और
After
इतने
all,
सारे
he knew for certain,
puzzle.
beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just...
वो कोई मैजिकल स्टार नहीं है पहली
He
बात.
would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a
वही मैं
dream.
बोल रहा हूँ, एक ड्रीम है बस ये.
So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin,
Oh.
the press of the mattress on his back.
यस मैं सो रहा था, मैं ड्रीम कर रहा था, मेरे को पता है, और इतने सोचने की जरूरत नहीं है. ऐसा हो रहा है मेरे साथ, ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है, ऐसा क्यों नहीं हो रहा है, ऐसा सोचने की बिल्कुल जरूरत नहीं है मुझे.
This dream, I wish it to be over.
ओवर हो गया भाई ड्रीम में.
Let me go back to my job.
हाँ मेरे को वहीं पे जाना है.
Let me continue pushing the buttons, please.
No,
It's all I want.
no, I do not.
I want my apartment and my wife and my job.
Yes, I want my wife.
All I want is my life exactly the way it's always
Yes, रो दूंगा वरना मैं.
been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine.
ये कैसी लाइफ है?
I am okay.
वाओ. ओह, मैं ड्रीम कर रहा था? नहीं, ऐसा तो कुछ लग नहीं रहा.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice?
Oh, what the fuck? क्या हो रहा है ये? Oh.
And everything went black.
Oh. ऐसा कुछ हुआ?
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man
Stanley!
who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind.
Yes, me
I
too.
know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
नहीं, छोड़ के क्यों जा रही हो? बेचारा स्टैनली. हाँ, ये दूसरी एंडिंग थी. भाई कितनी एंडिंग है इसमें? इस गेम में कितनी एंडिंग है? सोचो अगर मैं वही कर रहा हूँ, देखना. अगर
all of his co-workers were gone.
हाँ, पता है
What
मुझे.
could it mean?
I know.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
मेरे को क्या करना है, ये जो बोल रहा है ना वो करता सबसे पहले, मैं बाद में अलग-अलग एंडिंग देखेंगे
When
अपन।
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
हाँ लेफ्ट में गया, मैं ना इसी की बात मानूंगा अभी तो। फिर मीटिंग रूम पे आया,
Yet there was not a single
जहाँ पे
person
लिखा है
there
टिप्स
either.
फॉर नोट
Feeling a wave
गेटिंग
of
फायर्ड।
disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
ऊपर की साइड है बॉस।
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
मैं इसकी बात मानता, ये नरेटर की बात मानता मैं इस बार। मैं मानता, कभी-कभी मानता मैं बात, लेकिन ज्यादा बार नहीं मानूंगा मैं। ओह एक्सक्लूसिव बाथरूम, यहाँ पे जाना है मुझे। एग्जीक्यूटिव बाथरूम लिखा हो, मैं सोच रहा एक्सक्लूसिव बाथरूम है वो। ओ भाई, लेकिन जाना है मुझे उसमें, बहुत जोरों से आ रही है। चलो, बॉस कहाँ है? बॉस कहाँ है? हेलो बॉस, मेरा काम धंधा ना दे रहे तुम। मैं तो बहुत अच्छी बात है लेकिन।
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated
Wow,
this.
picture बहुत सही है।
What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so
ऐसा
the boss
कैसे?
had assigned it an extra secret
बता
PIN
बता बता,
number,
जल्दी बताओ तो।
2845. But of
Ooh.
course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
2845 क्या छुपा रखा है, मेरे को देखना है। खजाना है इसके।
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck.
खजाना है भाई इसके पीछे बहुत जरा।
He
पैसा
stepped
ही
into
पैसा।
the newly opened passageway.
कहाँ पे? यहाँ पे बॉस खजाना छुपा के बैठा है। ये क्या है? मेरे को पूरा यकीन है बॉस खजाना छुपा के बैठा है। ये क्या है? चलो, बॉस खजाना छुपा के बैठा है नीचे। बहुत सारा खजाना, पैसा ही पैसा होगा। काला बनी।
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Okay. ये क्या था?
Stanley walked straight ahead
Mind
through the large
control
door that read
facility.
Mind Control Facility.
Okay. यहाँ पे माइंड कंट्रोल करेंगे मेरा। ओ भाई, कहाँ पे आ गया मैं? लट्टू जलाना है। लट्टू।
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Yes, I have the strength to find out this. इतनी सारी टीवी क्यों हैं? वेस्ट क्यों करी? मेरे को दे देते यार, मेरे काम आएगी। ये क्या है, कैमरा?
Now the
What the
monitors
fuck?
jumped to life, their true nature revealed.
Oh!
Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Okay, समझा मैं। इतने सारे कोवर्कर्स यहाँ पे, बहुत सारे स्टैनली की तरह बहुत सारे काम कर रहे हैं, और उन सब का मॉनिटरिंग रूम है ये। जहाँ तक ये कोई मूवी की तरह लग रहा, मैंने देखी है जो, याद नहीं आ रही मुझे। लेकिन अपना नंबर क्या था? 421 ऐसे कुछ था ना। 421 का है। सारे गायब हो गए, लेकिन यहाँ पे क्या है ये समझ में ना आ रही मेरे। चलो देखते हैं। ओ ये क्या है?
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true.
Oh.
Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Yes, yes! सही में।
No, he refused to believe it.
He
couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
So sad. वही बोलने वाला हूँ.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls
Mind
labeled
control.
with emotions.
Oh,
Happy
boy.
or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life.
Okay.
For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
क्या करना है? डिसमेंटल करूँगा ना इसे. चलो, 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 चलो. कहाँ डिसमेंटल होगी? ओह, नीचे से होगी. ओह, ओके. ये मशीन कंट्रोल करती है माइंड. मैं इसको तबाह करके रहूँगा आज. लेकिन कहाँ से तबाह करूँ? कहाँ से तबाह करूँ? ये कहीं के बटन है? क्या बटन था? क्या बटन था? हाँ, इधर जाना है. ओह, यहाँ पे जाना है मुझे. मैं तबाह करके रहूंगा. ये जो भी है. ये क्या? What? वाओ, दबाने में मजा आ रहा है. माइंड कंट्रोलिंग आइडल अवेटिंग इनपुट. यहाँ पे क्या कोडिंग चल रही है?
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
System power off. Yes. क्या हो गया? ऑफ क्यों करी मैंने? मेरे को पता नहीं. एक और एंडिंग मिलेगी अपन को.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
I think so.
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And
Yes.
yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's
ये भी
grasp?
सही बात है यार.
What other mysteries did this strange building hold?
Okay.
But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered
No,
to him.
मैं दोबारा
For it was not
देखने
knowledge
जाऊंगा
or
उन्हें.
even
मेरे
power
coworker कहाँ
that he
गए?
had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel.
Wow.
Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing.
ये क्या सिनेमा की स्क्रीन है क्या?
Stanley stepped through the open door.
मैं जा रहा. Bye.
Stanley felt the cool
Wow.
breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley
Was happy.
happy.
बस खत्म. अगर मैं पावर ऑन करता तो क्या होता? ये भी है ना. अगर मैं उस लेफ्ट डोर पे जाता तो क्या होता? ये भी है. वाह, वापस आ चुके अपन यहाँ पे. लेकिन इस बार मैं कुछ और ही करूँ.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
मैं सोच रहा
Stanley
कि
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
मैं ना लेफ्ट रूम में गया था ना. वहां से लेफ्ट रूम. हाँ, लेफ्ट रूम में.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room.
मैं इस वाले
and
में गया
Stanley
था.
knew it perfectly
Yes,
well.
मेरे को पता है.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire
यहाँ पे
it.
भी आ चुका था मैं. और
Wow. Yes.
और
This
मैं
room.
इधर गया था.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
ये लेफ्ट में जाके देखते क्या होता है यहाँ पे.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Okay, ये सामने क्या है? What? ये कौन सा रूम है? What?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of
Oh,
disbelief,
समझ.
Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
ओ, ये मैं गलत कहाँ से कहाँ आ गया मैं? फिर मैं बॉस के रूम पे आया, फिर मैंने वो देखा, एक बार ऑन करके देखते हैं ना उसे.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He
अगर
began
मैं
wildly
ऑन
tearing
करके
through
देखूं
papers
उसे
on the boss's
तो क्या होगा
desk,
ये देखना है
pulling
मुझे.
books
ऑफ
off
करा
the
था ना मैंने, तो
shelf,
ऑन
looking
करूंगा तो क्या
behind
होगा.
paintings, desperate for
अगर मैं
clues to
पावर
his
ऑन करूंगा तो क्या
situation.
होगा वो देखना है
But his
मुझे.
attention was caught
वही
by a
चीज ट्राई करेंगे
keypad
अपन.
behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley could, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing.
अब मैं यहाँ पे गया.
He stepped into the newly
अब ये बहुत
opened
बोलता है, लेकिन ये
passageway.
नरेटर बहुत बोल रहा है. मैं उधर क्यों जाऊँ? मैं इधर भी तो जा सकता हूँ. ओह, इधर रास्ता ही नहीं है, इन्होंने बनाया नहीं इधर रास्ता. चलो अपन नीचे जाना है. अगर मैं फिर मैं पावर ऑफ करूंगा तो क्या होगा? अगर मैं पावर ऑफ करी थी, सॉरी, ऑन करूंगा तो क्या होगा ये देखना है मुझे. ये चीज देखने की, अगर मैं पावर ऑन करूंगा तो क्या होगा वहां पे. मैं आया ये माइंड कंट्रोल फैसिलिटी पे आया ना मैं. अगर मैं पावर ऑन करूंगा तो
Stanley
क्या
walked straight ahead through the large door that read
Oh.
Mind Control Facility.
वो एक और है, एस्केप. यहाँ से क्या होगा देखो तो.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
ओह, ओके. यहाँ पे डेथ है. मैं देखना चाहता हूँ कैसी होगी. लेकिन ये कंट्रोल रूम के बाहर, माइंड कंट्रोल रूम के बाहर भी एस्केप का एक बटन, मतलब वे था. अब मैं उसके अंदर आया हूँ तो देख के जाना ही पड़ेगा क्या होता है.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
No, मैं पीछे नहीं झटूंगा.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk
नहीं, मैं बहुत तेज भाग रहा हूँ.
forward
मेरे को
and
पता है क्या
willingly
होगा.
confront his death.
मरने वाला हूँ क्या मैं? ऐसा क्यों? मेरे को देखना है. ऐसा क्यों? What? ये क्या है? वाओ, ऐसा कौन करता है? ये तो कूद ही गया. Oh, what?
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence
मैं भाई
whatsoever.
पापड़ बनने वाला हूँ.
Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind
मैं
man.
इधर भी तो जा सकता
So
हूँ.
he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and
No!
shallow life.
मेरे को
Farewell, Stanley.
No, sorry, नहीं, नरेटर बचा ले. मेरे को चपटा ना होना.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led
मैं भी
helplessly
रो रहा
into
हूँ.
the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated.
He was a
as
fair
the
man.
machine
He
crushed
was hard-working
every bone
man.
in his body,
I know
killing
him. Stanley was a good
instantly.
man. अब मर चुका है लेकिन वो बच गया. बच गया. बच गया मैं. मैंने सोचा मैं मर गया. वाओ.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
मैं खुद को नहीं पता मैं वहां पे गया क्यों. मरने के लिए. वापस अपने रूम पे जाओ, फिर वहीं से स्टार्ट करो. दूसरी चॉइस. वाओ, क्या गेम है यार. ये क्या है? नई जगह पे आया मैं. What?
When every path you can walk has been created for you long
What?
in advance,
ये कहाँ?
death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Okay, ये क्या है? ऑफिस कंप्यूटर्स. पोकर है. गेम. पच. इंस्टॉलिंग. What? क्या हो रहा है ये? वाओ. क्या है ये? What the fuck? मेंटेनेंस रूम. ये मेंटेनेंस रूम के अंदर क्या है? एन अर्ली वर्जन ऑफ मेंटेनेंस रूम। व्हाट? ये क्या है? प्रिंटर? 431 to 436 फ्लोर नंबर है क्या ये? मैं कहाँ पे हूँ ये? वो साइकिल। ओए साइकिल दो, साइकिल चलाऊंगा मैं। वॉर जोन। वॉच। Early in the development were design and ending where Stanley would end up in a battlefield fighting aliens. The action game would become sentient and would wage war against the narrator. He realized shortly after starting to the building. मतलब ये कोई वॉर वाला सीन है जो बनाया था लेकिन शायद से है नहीं, या हो भी सकता है, क्या पता अपन को। वाओ। Pixel said, "Dear narrator, dear and how did you stay in the safe? Sincerely, my." मैं क्यों पढ़ रहा हूँ ये चीजें? मैं क्यों पढ़ रहा हूँ पागलों की तरह? ना पढ़नी मुझे। देख लो भाई जिसको पढ़नी है। कार्गो लिफ्ट। ओ ये मतलब ये अलग अलग एंडिंग्स की वो वर्जन्स है भाई। ओ शायद से मैं मेरे हिसाब से एक ऐसे रूम पे आ चुका हूँ मैं जहाँ पे मेरे को सब कुछ पता चल रहा है कि क्या क्या कर सकता था मैं। ऐसा तो नहीं है, बिकॉज ये लग रहा है कार्गो लिफ्ट। अगर ये कार्गो मैं ना, अगर वो देखो वो वहां पे कुछ था यार, वो कार्गो लिफ्ट वाला साल जो मेरे को $5,000 ऐसे कुछ दे रहा था, उसका भी कुछ सीन था बुरा सा। जैंडिंग लीवर्स, ये सब उसी में ही है भाई, मेरे को लग रहा है भाई वैसा ही कुछ है। मैं लेकिन ये घूम रहा हूँ, ये खुद ही भूल भुलैया है। ये एग्जिट व्हाट? ये क्या है? ओए क्या था वो? व्हाट द फक? मैं कहाँ जा रहा हूँ मेरे को खुद को नहीं पता। भाई ऑफिस क्लॉक।
Now then, this elevator for sure would get him right back on track to where he was supposed to be in the story. Then he pushed the number 8.
कौन सा नंबर 8? मैंने कब पुश कर दिया? और मैं क्यों करूं? मैं को कोई स्टैनली समझ रखा है तुमने? चलो शायद से वो एग्जिट था, उसी में चलता मैं। क्या होगा देखता मैं भी। ओ बने। ओ ये क्या है? पच काउंटडाउन डेस्क। यहाँ पे एग्जिट है ना?
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
The Stanley Parable on of Pach, क्या था वो?
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another?
क्या?
No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
मैं कर क्या रहा हूँ?
But listen to me. You can still save these two.
Oh!
You can stop the program before they both fail.
Okay.
Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice.
Okay.
Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
मैं मर गया। मैं वहां से बच सकता था शायद से, ऐसा कुछ मैं बच सकता था मेरे हिसाब से। ओके, मैं बच सकता था मेरे को लगता है।
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself. That's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all.
अब मेरे को क्या करना है?
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room.
मेरे को पता है,
Stanley
सब
knew
पता है,
it
मुझे
perfectly
सब
well.
पता है।
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
मेरे को
The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Yes, ये लेना है।
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back.
अब पीछे जाऊंगा मैं। अब क्या होगा देखता। ये मेंटेनेंस रूम है ना? शायद से इसमें कुछ हो, क्या पता है।
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's,
कौन से दरवाजे पे?
left.
क्यों राइट में नहीं जा सकता मैं? ऐसे ऐसे बोलने की क्या जरूरत थी इसे? Okay.
Oh no, no, it's to the right. My mistake.
ये क्या चाहता है भाई?
No,
What?
not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I
ये
thinking?
खेल रहा है बहुत बुरी तरह मेरे
It's
साथ
clearly-
नैरेटर.
Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
ओ पेपर पलट के देख रहा है वो.
No, let's see.
What?
We went down.
अबे वो
right,
खेल रहा है गेम,
left,
मैं नहीं खेल रहा.
down,
मैं कर क्या रहा हूँ यहाँ पे?
Right. Yep. Okay. Yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
ओ ओके. अब क्या यहाँ से कार लेके भागूं? हाँ? ओ नीचे कुछ रास्ता है. क्या?
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back
नहीं
to...
आंखें क्लोज कर ली मैंने.
Who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
क्या था ये?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
तो यस, अब मैं सोच रहा हूँ कि मेरे को शायद से वो माइंड कंट्रोल वाले रूम पे जाके ऑन करना चाहिए. क्या होता है?
When Stanley... Wait.
What? ये कहाँ पे आ गया?
What? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be...
हाँ.
Or did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or...
बस मैंने आंखें खोली थी और कुछ नहीं करा.
Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago.
अब ईगो हट हो रहा है मेरा.
I'm sure that it's here somewhere. Okay then, it's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
What? कौन से रूम पे? मैं पागल होने वाला हूँ. Definitely इधर चलता हूँ. क्या होता है? What the heck is this room? Wow. ठीक है. Inner guilt. ये कहाँ पे आ गया? मतलब इतने सारे रास्ते हैं. मैं लाइन वाइज जाऊँगा सब में. वाव. ये कहाँ पे आ गया मैं? पता नहीं है मेरे को. अरे सारे रास्ते खुल गए क्या? What?
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
क्या हो रहा है मेरे साथ ये?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
मेरा माइंड
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
सहन नहीं कर
Perhaps he had
सकता.
simply missed a memo.
इतना सहन नहीं कर सकता मेरा माइंड. अब कहाँ जाना है?
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering.
यहाँ पे
this
दरवाजा ही नहीं
wrong.
है.
It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
ना. क्या मिस कर दिया मैंने? बताओ. क्या मिस कर दिया? Okay. What the fuck? कहाँ पे हूँ मैं? पीछे जाके क्या मिलेगा? बताओ.
Aha! I knew we'd missed something.
Oh.
The story.
ये था ही नहीं.
Here it
पहले
comes.
था ही नहीं है यहाँ पे. अभी कहाँ से आ गया? ये
No, wait.
अरे
Never mind.
यार.
Not the story. Okay,
ऊपर
let's
जाना है.
head back the other way and retrace our steps.
हाँ. ये रह गया मेरी जिंदगी में इसकी बातें सुनना. और कुछ ना करूँगा मैं. Oh, what? कहाँ पे आ गया मैं?
Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all.
मेरे को
Is this the story?
अरे मेरे को कैसे पता होगा कौन सी जगह ये है?
I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct?
ये ऑफिस बिल्डिंग नहीं है पहली बात.
Do you remember,
टूटा-फूटा सा
Stanley?
घर.
Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win!
Yes!
Congratulations!
वो जीत गया मैं, जीत गया.
I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off. So, good job.
जीत गया मैं?
Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Oh, इतनी अच्छी ending थी.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Yes, बहुत simple है.
You see, the line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Yes! Yes!
Cut the music. Go back and look at that fern.
What? क्या देखना है? मैं नहीं देख रहा, मैं जा रहा. मैं story continue करना है ना? Story.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No.
What is this?
Line. You do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story is.
मैं लोड की इसी जगह पे आ गया.
Line. How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you. Well, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
What the fuck? मैं पागल हो रहा हूँ भाई.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. This all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
मेरे को स्टोरी बनानी नहीं है पहली बात. और ऐसी स्टोरी कौन बनाता है ये पागलों की तरह? जिसका कोई एंड नहीं हो.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything.
Yes, I want to become a superhero.
Go wild. Use your imagination.
Yes.
Whatever it might be, Stanley.
Yes, मेरे को superhero बनना है. Yes,
it.
मेरे को superhero बनना है. मेरे को superhero बनना है. Super छड्डी पहनो.
Oh no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it. We should be fine.
ये lines कहाँ से आ गई इतनी सारी? ये आई क्यों रही है lines? ओ, ये कहाँ पे आ गया मैं?
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door
in the red line.
And that in
Circles are of
turn
red
means that our destination corresponds with that contra-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going?
Okay.
And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one.
He wants me to go to right, John.
Come, Stanley. Our destiny
Okay, sir.
awaits.
Okay, sir. We are good. ये क्या है?
Oh, hold up. What's this?
The confusion ending.
The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all
What
one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times?
What?
That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank.
This narrator is full.
Here on this
पागल है ये narrator बहुत बड़ा.
Wall.
इसको नहीं लिखनी आती story. मैं लिख देता story.
You consulted me.
जो खत्म भी हो जाए.
Why don't I get to decide?
मैं chair में बैठ जाऊँ sir.
Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped?
Oh.
Does that mean
we are at the end?
Do it? Did we break the cycle?
Yes, I think so.
Whatever it is that made this schedule. How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey. Though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now.
इससे अच्छी story लिख लूँ मैं.
We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
Watch! क्या है ये? Oh, वापस से आ चुके अपन ना? अब क्या?
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken.
Okay, तो मेरे को एक चीज पता चली है कि है ना बहुत सारी एंडिंग हो सकती है इसमें पता नहीं क्या क्या एंडिंग है.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Fuck it off.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
लेकिन मैं वापस जा सकता ना?
Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
अरे अपन ट्राई करते हैं ये चीज देखो.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
मैं इसके नीचे नहीं जा सकता.
Oh well, look who's got cold feet. Sorry to break it to you, Stanley, but that lift isn't coming back. You'd best either get comfortable right here on this platform, or test your luck by jumping to the floor below. You know what? Looking at it now, it's not that far to the bottom floor. I bet you can make it.
मैं नहीं जाऊँगा वहाँ पे. मैं क्यों जाऊँ? वो मैं उधर भी जा सकता था भाई.
Come on. I'm sure you'll survive the jump.
No.
Don't tell me you're scared.
Yes, I'm scared.
That's not the Stanley I know. Do it. Do it.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. मैं पहले कूद चुका हूँ वहाँ पे. मेरे को नहीं जाना उस जगह वापस. क्या? कूदना पड़ेगा. बैक जाऊँगा मैं. अरे मैं पहले कूद चुका हूँ वहाँ पे. कोई ना. Fuck you.
Whoops.
Fuck you.
Looks like I was wrong. How clumsy of me.
हमेशा गलत है ये नरेटर. हमेशा. अब नहीं कूदूंगा मैं वहाँ पे जाके. याद रख लेना.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
पता है मुझे.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he simply missed a memo.
मेरे को पता है कहाँ जाना है मुझे. मैं उससे वो जो भी लिफ्ट जो भी थी कुछ भी थी. Yes, I know ये करेक्ट रूम नहीं है. मेरे को जाना तो भी यहाँ पे से.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
कोई भी employee नहीं है यहाँ पे पहली बात.
Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach, but
सीधा जाना है मुझे.
Back to business. Stanley took the first open door on his left.
नहीं, left नहीं लेना है.
Stanley was so bad at following directions. It's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
मेरे को खड़ा रहना है. Yes, यहाँ पे खड़ा रहना.
I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot.
No, I am in the correct foot. मैं बिल्कुल सही जगह पे हूँ. मेरे को पागल बनाने की जरूरत नहीं है. मैं उधर जाऊँगा.
Difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
अरे मैं इधर भी कूद सकता हूँ ना. सोचो अगर मैं यहाँ से कूदूँ और उधर जाऊँ.
Someone you've forgotten about.
Wow, अगर ये भी हो सकता है क्या?
Stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me. I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself.
It's
to
my
put
choice.
your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
कौन? मेरे को पता नहीं है कौन वेट कर रही है. हेलो, मैं कहाँ पे हूँ? Oh, what the fuck?
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her.
No!
If you can truly place your faith in another, Then pick up the phone.
No, brother, I do not want to pick up. चलो उठा लेते हैं, नखरे क्यों कर रहे हो इतने में? अरे उठना, अरे फोन ही ना उठ रहा। उठा लिया। What the fuck? क्या है ये? ये कहाँ?
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven.
It's my wife.
All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
What? What the fuck?
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife?
Yes.
Who'd want to commit their life to you?
No.
I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
You fucking asshole.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
क्यों? Good morning, employee 427. Place key on the keyboard. Okay.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
ये तारीफ अच्छी थी, बहुत ही ज़्यादा.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch.
Fuck you.
Now he's going home.
No, मैं दबा.
He's coming back.
No, मैं दबाऊंगा ही नहीं बोलेगा. नहीं मैं ये बोलेगा ना दबाऊंगा ही नहीं वो.
Except that he's chosen this life.
ये गुस्सा दिला रहा है. नहीं क्यों दबाऊं मैं? क्यों दबाऊं मैं? मैं नहीं दबा रहा सी. नहीं, अबे सी नहीं दबाऊंगा तो चलेगा ही नहीं. देखो सारे बटन दबा ले कीबोर्ड पे, लेकिन सी दबाना है. चलो कोई ना.
But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Okay.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions.
Yes.
And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Oh, yes.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path. Mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Oh. Please press K to tell your wife you love her.
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be?
Because there is
In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets. The more he forgets which life is the real one.
देखो मैं ना सारे बटन दबा लिए मैंने. ये पागल बना रहा है भाई. गेम पागल बना रहा है. मेरी गलती नहीं है भाई. गेम को मैं नहीं खेल रहा. गेम मेरे को खेल रहा है. ऐसा है.
And I'm trying to tell him this. That in this world he can never be anything but an observer.
वही बोल रहा हूँ मैं. सही आप सही बोली ना. आप बात सही है ना. मैं ऑब्जर्वर हूँ बस. मैं देख रहा हूँ जो हो रहा है और कुछ कर ही नहीं सकता मैं.
This. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
नहीं कर रहा. बस नहीं कर रहा मैं पुश. नहीं क्यों करूं मैं पुश? कोई मीनिंग नहीं है इस चीज का. बस मैं इसे घूरते रहूं, यहाँ पे दिखता रहूं. गेम एंड हो गया बस. मैं ही पागल हूँ ना, पुश करना पड़ेगा। उसने ना बोला है ना, लेकिन करना पड़ेगा मुझे।
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
एक बेसबॉल का डंडा लाके इसको मारने का मन कर रहा है मुझे, नैरेटर को बहुत ही बुरी तरह मन कर रहा है। कसम से ना, मिल ना जाए मेरे को ये कहीं, बहुत ही बुरी तरह मारूंगा इसे मैं कुछ मेरे को मजबूर करा है इन्होंने दबाने के लिए। मैं दबाना नहीं चाहता, लेकिन इन्होंने मजबूर करा है मुझे दबाने के लिए। देख लो।
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley.
This guy is an asshole. इसने ही रूल बनाई है।
I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well,
fuck
maybe
you,
this time
narrator.
we'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried
Fuck
again.
off.
And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button.
ये मेरी गलती नहीं है, तूने बोला है मुझे। बस हाँ, गेम एंड हो गया, अच्छी बात है। लो, एक और नई शुरुआत। अच्छी एंडिंग थी वो मेरे हिसाब से। ट्राई करते हैं यार कुछ डिफरेंट।
How long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days? Centuries? Did something crucial happen while my senses were turned?
Oh,
he made a
new
note
content.
to be more careful with time from now on. Oh, new content?
Yes.
What does that mean? New content?
वही मैं सोच रहा हूँ क्या है। न्यू कंटेंट क्या है, मेरे को भी देखना है। वो एंड नहीं हुआ था, तो मैं नई जगह जा रहा हूँ। वाह, कहाँ जा रहे हैं अपन?
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Delux. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Delux, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Delux features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
ये वेट कर दो, पागल कर देते हैं।
Please step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Delux.
इसी का वेट था मुझे।
Well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
वही, इस गेम का नाम ही अल्ट्रा डिलक्स है, तो वही देखना है मुझे।
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
क्या मेरे को वाइफ मिल जाएगी? वही देखना जा रहा हूँ मैं। क्या ऐसा होगा मेरे को लवली वाइफ मिलेगी?
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere?
Oh,
here we go.
Yes.
All right,
we are
finally,
moving up.
at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Yes, I am ready, narrator. कुछ अच्छा। बार-बार उस ऑफिस में जाना पसंद नहीं है मुझे।
To say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Yes, I am giving the content. आपको भी कंटेंट चाहिए ना? तो सब्सक्राइब करो।
All right. Let's see. It's the jump circle.
न्यू कंटेंट जंप सर्कल 36 टाइम्स। मैं क्यों करूँ ऐसा? मैं पागल हूँ क्या? हाँ?
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Yes, वही मैं पागल थोड़ा हूँ मैं क्यों करूँ जंप?
Goodness, another elevator.
ये
Stanley, I have
टिकटॉकर
to
समझ रखा है इन्होंने मुझे।
initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more. Very good. Yeah.
Yes, there is more.
I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it.
Wow.
I'm ready for whatever
कोई नई
it
जगह,
is.
बहुत अच्छी नई जगह दिखी है। और यहाँ पे कुछ लिखा है, Thank you for enjoying the new content.
That's it?
बेवकूफ बनाया।
Oh, you've got to be kidding
Oh,
me.
भाई।
Is this Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar.
Yeah.
And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks, just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
मेरी तो सुननी नहीं है भाई उसे. What the fuck? कहाँ पे हूँ मैं? वाव! अरे नई जगह आए अपन. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Stanley.
What?
Come over here.
Where?
In the vent.
Okay, bro.
I want to show you something.
Okay, brother, I'm coming. क्या है नीचे? क्या दिखाना चाहता है? ओह, यहाँ पे एक कॉफी मग है और एक स्क्रू है. क्यों? क्या दिखाना चाह रहा था मुझे? हेलो?
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
ये टेम्पल रन है क्या?
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
वही, आप मेरे को ऐसे बंदूक दे दो. बैटल रॉयल में आ गया मैं. The Memory Zone.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something.
Yes, सही में बहुत अच्छा गेम है ये.
Waste.
मैं वेस्ट नहीं है भाई ये गेम. खुद मत बोला कर. देखो अवार्ड जीता इसने. देखो अपन गेम को नहीं खेल रहे, गेम अपन को खेल रहा है. ये बताना चाह रहा है कि इस गेम ने क्या क्या करा है पुराने गेम ने. तो यही है गुड टाइम्स. वही पुरानी यादें कब मिटेगी. ओरिजिनल. ओ यहाँ पे कुछ लिखा है देखो. मेमोरी लाइन. मैंने खेला नहीं है लेकिन मैं महसूस कर सकता हूँ. सही में काफी अच्छा गेम है. काफी अच्छा गेम है. देखो स्टैनली गिरा पड़ा. ये भी कर चुके अपन. अब कहाँ जा रहे हैं? वाओ, यहाँ पे क्या है ये?
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism. 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley?
Yes.
Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim. It was Persona 3. It was all of them. And now, it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk.
It is an Ultra Delux now.
A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
No. और भी कंटेंट है अच्छे अच्छे से. ओरिजिनल कंटेंट, फेक कंटेंट नीचे नहीं. क्या बोले जा रहा मैं? वाह, कहाँ पे आ गया मैं? वाह, बुक भी है क्या स्टैनली पैराडे की? The end is never ever. The end is never. What? I am reading.
Here's another moving passage.
9.
This time from GameSpot.com.
लेकिन 9 है.
The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect.
Yes,
it didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone. To spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game
ऐसा नहीं
memories.
है. ऑडियंस को और भी चाहिए होता है. ऑडियंस को और
These were simpler times, Stanley.
मैं खुद
But I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again.
चलो
Wait,
तो निकल लेते हैं.
hang on.
What?
I don't recall this part of the memory zone before.
Oh, what?
What's this? What's down here?
कहाँ से नीचे आ गया अपन? कोल्ड ड्रिंक है यहाँ पे. कोल्ड ड्रिंक पे लेते हैं अपन. What? ये कहाँ पे आ गया?
Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor.
What?
I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
I think so. Disappointment.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags
सही
to
में
insert
ये
into
बिल्कुल
the
सही बोला
Stanley
इसने
Parable,
इस बंदे
but
ने.
the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
वही ये नैरेटर बहुत ज्यादा बेकार आदमी है. ये बोलना चाहूंगा बस मैं खुद भी. Steam reviews, YouTube reviews and comments. अरे सबके साथ होता है यार. अभी देखो तुम YouTube कम्युनिटी में भी है ना, क्या कहते हैं, अब तुम्हारे कमेंट्स आते हैं ना, कैसे कमेंट्स आते हैं यार, नेगेटिव कमेंट्स भी आते हैं. तो कभी बुरा नहीं मानना चाहिए. लेकिन वाओ, यहाँ पे लाइक है ना, देखो यहाँ पे डिसलाइक नहीं है, लाइक वाला बटन है.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I?
No, you are not preachy, bro.
I'm preachy. Honestly, you can.
You are not. Definitely not.
This is actually quite shocking for me.
You are a very good
to be
person.
honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did.
But एक बात बोलूँगा, provoking person है ये.
Dear.
क्या बोलूँ मैं इसे?
What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black
Steam
marks
reviews
on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure.
Yes, me too.
Like I let these people down.
Me too यार, me too यार. मैं भी
isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
हाँ, मेरे को भी ऐसा लगता है यार. YouTube कम्युनिटी में कमेंट्स आते हैं ना, लोग बाग बोलते हैं तू ये नहीं कर सकता, वो नहीं कर सकता. ओह, यहाँ पे भी कुछ है. हेलो.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Skip button.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No, 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 no. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, until the end of time, at which time, everything all at once, so, now you see, blah, 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 blah.
मैं really skip कर दूँगा.
It can't be just yet, no, until 200 and...
स्किप करने दे.
What? Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are or... Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on exactly how Steam works. Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam.
Skip.
Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself.
No, skip.
It's shocking, isn't it? Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours.
Oh.
You've just been frozen there.
Okay.
I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting...
I will push...
Oh, Stanley, you're back.
Abhi buddha ho gaya.
Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks.
Skip. Dokra ho jayega wo.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about...
Skip. What? Chup ho gaya wo. Wow, chup ho gaya wo. Wow, chup ho gaya. Finally. What? Finally chup ho gaya. वाह, बीपी पे लग गया वो अस्पताल में भर्ती है क्या? नरेटर अस्पताल में भर्ती हुआ गाइस. अब कुछ नहीं हो सकता. उसकी आखिरी सांसें चल रही है, देखो जैसे हार्ट बीट चलती है वैसे.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough.
Skip.
They had to...
ओ शांति मिली. शांति बहुत ही अच्छी तरह शांति मिली. ये क्या होता है?
The end is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end.
Skip.
Is never the end.
मैं पागल हो जाऊंगा. एक और बार सुना ना मैंने. अब क्या करना है? Skip. शांति मिली दोबारा से. कब तक मेरे को ये स्किप वाला बटन? अब मेरे को स्किप वाले बटन से नफरत हो गई भाई. मैं स्किप वाला बटन दबाऊंगा ही नहीं. मेरे को जरूरत ही ना स्किप वाला बटन दबाने की. ओह, ये तो दरवाजे सब टूट गए. हाँ, मैं थक चुका हूँ स्किप वाला बटन दबा के. क्या फायदा स्किप वाला बटन दबाने से? क्या हो जाएगा? स्किप वाला बटन नहीं रखना भाई स्टैनली, मत रखना. ये बेटर रहेगा. रात हो गई, सुबह हो गई. क्या एक और बार दबाऊं? स्टैनली, मैं पागल हो रहा हूँ स्टैनली, सही लिटरली पागल हो रहा हूँ. वाओ, अब तो भाई पौधे भी उग गए. वाओ, लेकिन कितना अच्छा लग रहा है यहाँ पे. पौधे पे फ्रूट्स भी आ गए. वाओ, मैं खा सकता इन्हें. ओ भाई, ग्रीनरी पसंद है मुझे ये. और कुछ स्टैनली? ओह, फिर से कुछ हुआ? नहीं, अच्छा नहीं है. रात हो गई. फिर से skip. Narrator, where are you? I need to talk to you, bro. I am feeling lonely. अकेले बात करने में मजा नहीं आता. हाँ, बेचारा नरेटर अच्छा आदमी था, पता नहीं कब गुजर गया. पता ही नहीं चला। ओ बटन भी चला गया अब तो। वाह, अब क्या दबाऊंगा मैं? ओ बटन भी चला ही गया, अब तो क्या ही दबाऊंगा मैं। चलो बाहर चलते हैं अपन। वाह फाइनली अपन बाहर आ चुके हैं। हो गया स्किप, सब कुछ स्किप तो कर ही दिया मैंने। बचा ही क्या है? ये रेगिस्तान, और रेगिस्तान में कहाँ जाना है वही तो नहीं पता। वाह, मैं दूर जाता जा रहा हूँ। कहाँ जा रहा हूँ मैं? मेरे को खुद को नहीं पता। What the fuck, कहाँ जा रहा हूँ मैं? कहाँ जाना है मुझे? चलो सीधा सीधा चलते हैं, देखते हैं कुछ तो होगा शायद से। क्या ही पता। मैं और दूर जा रहा हूँ, मैं और दूर जा रहा हूँ। स्किप का बटन नहीं है क्या इसमें? हो गया, हो गया स्किप। अब नैरेटर मिलेगा बेचारा। ओह, मैं वापस इसी रूम पे आ गया।
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh, the new content. The new content. The new content. देखते भाई क्या है इसके अंदर?
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting
What?
to show you.
Show me, bro. क्या न्यू कंटेंट है बता मेरे को। क्या है देखना है मुझे भी, कौन सा न्यू कंटेंट है। लेकिन जल्दी, स्किप कर दूंगा वरना मैं समझ गया ना सीधा।
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this Ultra Deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this Ultra Deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further.
What the fuck, क्या हो रहा है?
Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the Stanley Parable 2.
Ever 2 कहाँ से आ गया? What?
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Okay. कहाँ पे है? पहले the taste of sequel. पिलाओ मुझे, पहले पिलाओ। फिर ही जाऊंगा मैं अंदर।
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe?
Yes!
What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
New content is out. कहाँ पे है न्यू कंटेंट? The Stanley Parable 2. What the fuck, क्या हो रहा है ये?
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical.
दिखाओ सिनेमा में आया हूँ मैं। शायद से ऊपर जाना है। ऊपर है सिनेमा हॉल, ऊपर दिखाएंगे। वाओ, द स्टैनली पैराबल 2 कितना अच्छा लग रहा है।
Go on, try out some of the new features.
क्या फीचर है? बताओ मुझे। मर्च? What the fuck? मैं मर्च खरीदने आया हूँ यहाँ पे। Fuck you. मेरे को मर्चेंडाइज नहीं खरीदने किसी के। No screenshot. What? यहाँ पे क्या है?
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
Happy 12th birthday. What? ये कहाँ पे हूँ मैं? someone get well someday or happy 12th birthday. Step nice. ये दबाएंगे अपन happy birthday.
Sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Get well someday it is.
Yes. No. Fuck you. चलो यहाँ से. मेरे को करना ही नहीं है. मेरे को करना ही नहीं, सोचना ही नहीं है.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with no. I've made my decision. We're moving on.
What is this? क्या है ये? Please no screenshot. मैं कैसे screenshot ले सकता हूँ? Oh, ये कहाँ पे आ गया मैं? Hello? ये
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the well, we'll figure that out later.
What is this? क्या है? Collectibles? ये क्या है? Infinite hole free achievement. Settings fold champion. ऊपर चलते ऊपर क्या है? हेलो. क्लोज है. क्या बेकार चीज है, क्लोज कर रखी है. क्या ही फायदा है? ठीक है. Get new free and free plus CC achievements. मेरे को लेनी है. Pull the lever, receive your new achievement. No more steps.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever and when you... Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Fuck you, narrator. खराब मशीन दे रहा है. पागल बनाया इसने मुझे. इस जगह भी चू कर दिया इसने मेरा. चलो. ये क्या है? मेरे को एक कलेक्टिबल उठा के ले जाऊंगा मैं.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
I guess this. Can you find them? Oh!
Collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with
give me! Wow! एक मिल गया. मेरे को 6 चाहिए. और कुछ नहीं है.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
ये कहाँ पे जाना है? Jump circle. ये कहाँ पे जा रहा हूँ मैं? ये कितना बड़ा है और मैं जा कर रहा हूँ. मेरे को क्या पता है मैं कर क्या?
Stanley, this is fairly awkward. I hate to do this, but before you leave, you really should go to the bucket exhibit. You see, there's a surprise I was going to spring on you later.
Oh,
and
I
it
like
involves
buckets.
The bucket. And I really do hate to break the illusion, but it's important that you go see the bucket, okay? All right, I'll get out of your hair now.
आ रहा हूँ मैं. मेरे को bucket. Reassurance bucket. Yes, I like buckets.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those
Where
who
is
played
bucket?
it. Well,
Guy.
I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your
Yes.
heart. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, It's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
Yes, I like this bucket. Give me bucket. What? नहीं पकड़ सकता. Yeah.
Can you feel it?
Yeah.
The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body.
Yes, I can feel.
And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person.
Yes,
the benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they?
Yes.
All
अब इसको मैं अपने सर पे लगा लूं?
Await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
मैं लगा लूं इसे अपने सर पे? मैं सर पे लगा लूं इसे? चलो, यस, मैं बकेट लेके जा सकता. वाओ, कितना अच्छा लग रहा है ये.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
जिसके अंदर बकेट वाला गेम था वही है. वही बकेट है ये जो मैं उठा के ले जा रहा हूँ. What the fuck? मैं करना क्या चाह रहा हूँ? चलो अब यहाँ से निकले. कहाँ जाना है? ओह, जंप सर्कल ऊपर है. अब तो जा सकता मैं इधर ऊपर. मेरे को बकेट बहुत पसंद है. इसके अंदर क्या क्या नहीं भर सकता मैं. कुछ यहाँ से कलेक्टेबल छुपा के ले जाऊंगा मैं. स्टैंडी के क्या पता मजा आ जाएंगे. वो ये क्या है? इसको ले जाऊं? किसी का बैग है. What the fuck? कितने ऊपर जाना है? और oh, no screenshots. कहाँ पे हूँ मैं?
So Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features?
Yes!
Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience.
कहाँ से कहाँ आ गए अपन? एक स्टोरी बनाने से इसकी स्टोरी सुन रहे हैं.
Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay,
what?
Never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement.
What the fuck?
Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
Oh. What?
Who am I kidding, Stanley?
क्या ये?
This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags.
ये क्या करना
and I
चाह
do
रहा है?
very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything.
कुछ अच्छा सा,
more
कुछ
than
अच्छा सा.
anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game.
मैं अपने बकेट से कुछ और कुछ नहीं चाहता मैं.
Possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
ये क्या है? The Stanley Parable 2. Game begin settings. Quit to desktop. हाँ. So guys, finally मेरे हिसाब से काफी है. और ये अल्ट्रा डिलक्स एडिशन क्या निकल के क्या बन गया? कहाँ से नैरेटर, मतलब क्या, मैं तो खेल ही नहीं रहा गेम को. गेम मेरे को खेल रहा है. तो ये 2 आ गया पता नहीं कहाँ से. वो देखेंगे अपन अगली वीडियो में. मे बी आगे अपन फर्दर देखेंगे इसके अंदर क्या होगा. तो यस, मेरे हिसाब से मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट एपिसोड में स्टैनली पैरेबल 2 में, जहां तक मेरे हिसाब से. तो अभी के लिए बाय, टाटा.